going on? Miguel, host of Life Full Circle Radio. Happy Monday. We're back on our regular day. Because, I don't know, was it last week? It was last week. All right, y'all been hearing me talking about my baby, my middle daughter, who's out there hooping. Well, both my younger girls are hooping. But my middle daughter was in the championship for middle school, and they lost the championship game. We love them for the work they did, and but they came up short. But we're about to get into the club season, so Monday I'm back where I'm supposed to be on these Monday nights, at least for now. All right, so this week we're going to talk about the Grammys. The Grammys were last night, and so you got Jay-Z who got up there, won an award, and basically told the Grammys how they can go to hell. You have Miley Cyrus who won. You had a bunch of women who won, but it was a bunch of white women. And so a lot of folks just like, okay, what's going on with the black women? SZA, I guess her album was top of the charts for like 20 weeks, but she didn't win. And some other stuff. And so some of the old stuff is coming up and saying that, you know, it has been since Lauryn Hill won in 1999, I believe, since a black woman has won Album of the Year. Now, mind you, think about who we've had. We've had Beyonce, who's had a great run. We've had Rihanna, that's had a great run. We've had, so there's been other artists that have been in the mix, and they have not won Album of the Year yet. Taylor Swift has won 4 times. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I had some people who are in the business who talked to me. Killer Mike was arrested. The Rap Awards were not featured at all on the broadcast. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Joe Budden and his mans and them was acting a fool on the podcast. And Kia, we're going to talk about that as well. So anyway, here we go. Super producer, what the dealio?
What's up? Happy Monday.
Yeah. So check it out. I was called an elder in them comment streets today. So
that's worse than calling somebody old. Calling somebody an elder.
But they thought it was a flex. No, they weren't doing it to be nice. They called themselves because, like, looking at Essence's. I was looking at Essence social media account, and Essence used to be like kind of bougie, and you kind of felt like it was like the bourgeois. Man, Essence is whatever 35-year-old women want to see, which right now is ratchetness. That's what Essence is featuring. And so I was in a comment and somebody says, "Oh, talking about elder or something. Go feed your grandkids." I said, "You thought that was a flex." Y'all little young asses
it used to
out
be
here.
Jet was ghetto. Remember, It was Jet was ghetto. Then it was Ebony in between, and then there was Essence was the elite. Like if you made it to Essence magazine, like ooh.
Yeah, it was not. Now it's just like you know, everybody's struggling in these internet and publishing streets trying to keep themselves relevant. All right, so
I blame the Essence Festival. Anyway, so let's talk. Are we starting off with Grammys?
Let's start. We're gonna start off with the Grammys, and with the Grammys, and full disclosure, I'm gonna go ahead and give some flowers to this sister by the name of Robin Donaldson, because she posted something, and we gonna talk through her joint. So with the Grammys, we ain't late, we on time, Andre Sias. So the Grammys this year, let's go back to the two shot. With the Grammys this year, a lot of folks were nominated, and Taylor Swift, she got her thing, and then what's my girl Miley Cyrus, she won.
Miley Cyrus.
Celine Dion.
We'll go through all the awards.
Yeah, you go ahead. Let's set this thing up. Go ahead, jump on it.
So like you said, the Grammys were last night, and it was some tributes. I actually thought, to me, it was one of the best Grammys that they've done. Trevor Noah was the host. He actually did a great job. I feel like he was funny.
He's one of the producers too. I saw he got production credit on it.
Great. That's great. That explains a lot. Now you think about it. He was funny without being crass. He kept the show moving really great. Jay-Z won a very huge award. He made a very poignant speech, which we'll talk about. Tracy Chapman, the iconic Tracy Chapman got on stage and sang with the guy who redid her song, whose name I don't care about because I don't. Fantasia tributed Tina Turner, did a great job. Miley Cyrus has a song out, and she, is doing stuff.
Her hair, she kind of had the disco. Trey was like, "What? Why is her hair looking like that?" I said, "She got a disco fever thing going on."
No, that was her tribute to Tina Turner. They didn't want her to do what Fantasia did. Like they could have done like a group of women performance.
Full disclosure, I did not watch the Grammys last night, so I just didn't see the highlights. So you can go ahead and catch us up.
Okay. Fantasia did an amazing tribute to Tina. I mean, full gold doing Proud Mary. And you know how
Okay.
Proud Mary is. That's full. I left the good. Like it's the whole
Oh,
thing.
I'm going to go back and watch that. That's one of my favorite songs. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, she full out. And they
Okay.
had the dancers who used to work with Tina Turner were also the background dancers on this performance. So those girls had it down packed.
Nice.
Miley wasn't a part of the tribute, so she did her own gold dress, big hair, kind of like Tina. They did the best she could to
Yeah.
make her look like Tina Turner.
Yeah.
So it was just an interesting award. So the winners for and we'll talk through these. Album of the year was Midnights by Taylor Swift was a winner. Best new artist was Victoria Monet, which is amazing. Song of the year was Billie Eilish. What Was I Made For from the Disney soundtrack? I'm not Disney. Barbie soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Rap album of the year was Killer Mike. Then we had record of the year, Flowers by Miley Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
Rap song of the year was Scientist and Engineers by Future, Andre 3000, James Blake. Pop duo performance was Ghost in the Machine, SZA and Phoebe Bridgers. Best African performance, Afro beats, was Tyla with Water. Her new song sounds just like the Water song. Like nothing.
Of course it did.
It's
That
weird.
Water song was fire, so they just gonna replicate
It was.
Yeah.
Best music video, I'm Only Sleeping, The Beatles, Jonathan Clyde and M. Ooper. Best solo performance, and I can go. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. No.
So let's all right. Let's get into the controversy now. Hurry up now. Hurry up before we lose our audience. Go ahead.
So the controversy, I feel like the controversy came in. Jay-Z was given an award, a lifetime achievement. I think it's a Dr. Dre Hip Hop Achievement Award. Is that what it's called?
No, it's not a hip hop. It wasn't a hip hop achievement award. It was Dr. Dre Global Impact Award.
Global Impact Award.
Yeah, it was a Global Impact Award. But he during his speech, Jay-Z calls out Grammys over Beyonce's lack of black best album wins. When I get nervous, I tell the truth. He was up there. He had Blue with him. Beyonce out there with a
who looked adorable, by the way. Blue Ivy looked so cute in that white dress with her little boots. It was a great look.
Absolutely.
But go ahead and read that quote from him.
So in essence, he says, when I get nervous, I tell the truth. He started talking about the fact that, Beyonce, who has won more Grammys than anyone, has never won Album of the Year. And, some folks, folks want to educate me. Some of the folks who are in the business said, well, it's a peer award and the peers of them didn't vote, blah, 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 blah. Here's what we know. 25 years plus in the game, Beyonce has had she has dominated the industry. Period, point blank. And, people want to say, well, she's not crossover. Damn lie. Between Destiny's Child and selling out the Mercedes Stadium and other stadiums around the world, Beyonce is clearly a crossover artist. She's not what? She's not what?
She's not a crossover artist.
Please help me understand how Beyonce's not a crossover artist. Please tell me.
Especially recently. Because past two.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go on.
The past two albums, Renaissance and Lemonade, were not crossover albums. Those were black albums. Those were black, I'm gonna do what I want albums. The albums that but I do feel like Lemonade, which a lot of people really thought was an iconic album for her, should have won. I do believe that, but she's not. Beyonce's not a crossover artist. Now, is she extremely popular? Yes, just like Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift is not a crossover artist, no matter what everybody says. She's not. She's extremely popular. We have not had a crossover artist that appealed to everybody equally since Janet.
So here's the thing, and Janet came up in the conversation before. The definition of a crossover artist from 35 years ago is not the crossover artist of today. And here's why, from my opinion. We live in silos, right? Mm-hmm. You come on this show every week and you start talking about some crime drama stuff that I'm like, I don't know what, because I'm not watching it, right?
True.
But when it comes down to a Taylor Swift, about 25 years ago, they decided to say hip hop was going to be pop music. And my career starting on the radio business, you would never hear Jay-Z on what we call a contemporary hits radio station, which was basically the white folks who live in Orlando, and they would listen to the Backstreet Boys, and they would listen to whoever.
Yeah.
Now Beyonce, Jay-Z, Drake, all these artists are played on all these radio stations across the board, right?
Once you make it to Target, Once you playing in Target and HM while
Once
people
you
are
make
shopping.
it a target, right? You straight pop, right? So when you think about that, what is considered pop now is really being dictated somewhat by the audience, but then also by the industry, and it's starting to see reverting back. Because I think the industry is they're scared of hip hop now. Hip hop has really gotten to the point these rappers are hard to play around your family.
Now that's a fact.
Right.
Sexy Red, no matter how everybody's like, everybody loves Sexy Red, but I can't put Sexy Red in the car with my nieces and my kids and my son.
Absolutely,
I cannot. There's no way.
When we was coming up on hip hop, you could easily take one word, flip it, and it would be okay to play that in the car. Right? We had what we call radio edits of all the songs.
Perfect example, Jay-Z's "Can I Get a What?" We know that's not what he was saying.
We know that's not what he was saying, right? We think about Exhibit. Shake It Fast was not Shake It Fast. That's not what the real song says, right?
That was mystical, by the way.
What did I say? Who did I say?
Exhibit.
Exhibit. No, it's definitely not Exhibit. It's not X to the Z. No. So yeah. So you could flip one word. You can't flip one word and go from my is brown and my
nope.
You can't flip that. It is what it is.
Whose fault is that though? Is that the artist's fault, the consumer's fault? Because I would never. A lot of the rap out right now, none of it can be nominated. I don't want it representing hip hop. I don't want it representing Black culture. Like you got people like Sukiana out there, but then again, when you also think about it, you have people like Nicki Minaj that you guys also refuse to nominate and give an award. So now she doesn't even show up anymore.
So tell me about that, right? So Nicki Minaj, I heard some of the Nicki people, they were upset because she did not win. She's never won a Grammy?
Rightfully so. She's never won a Grammy, which I did not know. I've always been the weird impression that she's won a Grammy. Megan Thee Stallion has won 6. She won Best New Artist in 2021. She's won Best Song with Cardi B. It was for WAP, I think it was. No, it wasn't for that. That's not what it was. It was with Beyonce's song, the remix of song I can't think of right now. Yeah. So she's won 6 Grammys. And Nicki Minaj has won 0, and it makes me wonder, this is why she be going off on y'all. Because it doesn't make any sense for her not to win one Grammy.
So you think about Killer Mike, who won Album of the Year, who won the awards for his work on Scientists and Engineers, which featured Andre 3000 Future. He's 40 plus, if not, I don't think he's 50 yet, but he's
close.
He's up there. He's up there. He's up there with me. He's not far behind me, right? And so what's happening is that I think these artists lost sight of, or they just don't care, that the Grammys is for everybody to a degree.
It is.
So when you have the type of music like WAP and the Sexy Red stuff and all that, you're not gonna win awards for that. Make your bread, but you're not winning awards for that. And so
Bongos, I think, an opportunity to win an award because I feel like Bongos was a little bit more mainstream and more fun. And
Bongos was by who?
Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion.
I thought it was Cardi B. Right. So the game is changing, and when I say that white folks with these Grammy folks, because these awards are voted on by their peers, right? So it's not just some people sitting up there, 5 or 6 people determine who's hot. It is people, it's 1,200 people who have Grammy votes, and then they vote within categories, is my understanding. So the people consider themselves an R&B rap category voted on who they felt was the best. So when you have a situation like what you have now with these plethora of women rappers that are out here, and they're extremely out of control. There's the whole industry now is just, they wild.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
The Sukiana, like you would not have seen a Sukiana at the Grammys 25, 30 years ago.
And really quick, they keep trying to compare Sukiana to Lil' Kim. There is no comparison. Stop comparing the two. No. You know why you can't compare the two?
Please, go ahead.
Lil' Kim was raunchy and out there. But it was always raunchy with a little bit of sophistication. When you think about it, when she wore that one jumpsuit, think about it. The one jumpsuit with her boob out. She was fully covered except for one boob that had a pasty on it. It was semi-sophisticated. Everything was fine. Other outfits, I'm wearing a bikini top. Ooh, Moulin Rouge. It was never, let me lay on the floor of the Grammys and stick my ass up, or come on the Grammys with my butt out. Come on now.
I don't think it will take much of a Google search to find this is Sukihana who we're talking about. I don't
Find
think
an
it will
outfit
take.
that Lil' Kim wore like that. Let's say
Um,
Little Kim Grammys and see what comes up.
this is Sukihana. So Sukihana was
Yes.
out there. Now this is you turn
Turn around.
and see, right. So I can't really buy the Little Kim comparison to Sukihana is not true. It's there's a lot of comparison between them. Little Kim pushed the Little Kim, I won't say she was the pioneer of this generation. She probably was.
She was. She's
Right?
a pioneer. She was. She's a pioneer.
Yeah. So yeah. But the Sukiyanas, see, I go back. I spent a little bit of time this weekend. It was a cool documentary that's on. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Of the making of the "We Are the World" song. Okay.
Okay.
And what I did not know was that song was recorded, which makes perfect sense. It's a fascinating joint. It was written by Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, but it was performed at the night of the American Music Awards when Lionel Richie was hosting the event. Because think about it, you're trying to get the biggest superstars of the world all together in one time to record a song. It just doesn't. You just imagine right now having a song that's featuring Beyonce and Taylor Swift. They did what?
Remember? Remember when they remade Marvin Gaye "What's Going On"? Remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay, look up
No.
Marvin Gaye "What's Going On" remake. It was Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Destiny's Child, Nelly, Limp Bizkit. It was all of those big people. They remade that song.
Well, here's the thing about "We Are the World." It was the beginning. You imagine you take every top current artist that's on the top 20 right now, billboards in every genre. There was over 40 people that were there. You're talking about Lionel and Michael Jackson and Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen and
Paul McCartney,
Sydney Lauper, and it's something. And so the only way they said they can get it done, and Quincy Jones produced it, was to do it the night of the AMAs. They walked in there after the show, 11:30, and some of them didn't leave until 7:00 in the morning. But when you think about those people, the only one who was big who didn't show up with the story was about Prince and how he didn't want to show up because he and Michael, part of it was him and Michael had a rivalry to the day that whoever died first. So when you think about that, you say, man, it's incredible to think about that happening. But the level of class and things that you would not see when they flashed to the AMAs, everybody was in tuxedos. Women were in gowns. It was
that'll never be like that ever again. And it's kind of disappointing when you see it. But let's bringing the conversation back to Black people and being involvement. Everybody keeps saying Black people are getting pushed out, but I saw Black people taking front and center at this Grammys, and maybe that's because I'm just weird when you think about it. SZA accepted the award. She's on stage. Who gave her the award? Lizzo. Tracy Chapman's on stage singing her song, getting a bigger standing ovation than the boy who's nominated for a Grammy for the song. Tracy Chapman's getting way more shine than he could ever imagine. Fantasia is doing the tribute to Tina Turner. We had John Baptiste did the tribute to, who did he tribute to? Somebody else old and Black. I can't think of the person's name.
Let me ask you, the biggest awards of the night, how many Black people won the biggest awards of the night?
2.
Who?
So Victoria Monet is Black. She won Best New Artist, which that's a big award.
That's a big deal.
Okay. And then Pop Song of the Year was SZA. Pop Song of the Year duo was SZA and Charlie Ballinger. They won that award. So there was 2 large awards that went to Black people. And then also, and my mind is swirling right now. When you think about a Beyonce album,
Mm-hmm.
Can we compare anything Beyonce's done, actually, Taylor Swift, any of these people's done, to what Lauryn Hill did? The miseducation of Lauryn Hill is, you
It's one.
can't compare it.
See that I here's the thing.
You know what I'm
I
saying,
always
though, right?
I get what you're saying, but
Okay.
it was pre maximum exposure, right?
Yes.
Lauryn Hill came off of an amazing album with the Fugees.
Yes.
The album that they had, and she came right behind it with this solo project, which was amazing. But that was 25 years ago, and Lauryn Hill said screw it ever since, right? She's rested on that album,
Fact.
legendary, since for 25 years.
She has. She's been eating off that album
for a long time, right? It's an amazing album, but in this day and age, that very few artists are making quality albums. It's all about singles driven stuff, right?
Yes.
Lemonade was dope. This last album that she just toured
was great. It was fun. It was fun, but no, it was fun. It's
fun. And you also got to keep in
But it's just fun.
But you also got to keep in mind that Beyonce is now in her 40s.
She is. And she doesn't care.
And she's in her 40s, and you don't do that in your 40s. Like people stop making new music for a reason. It's hard to replicate that success. And in this conversation that I had online with somebody I respect, I look at this thing and say, it is really time to start entertaining the conversation of, after Michael Jackson, who's the better black entertainer in the history of music?
Right. Just black?
We're talking in black music. Who is it beside? It's almost like a GOAT conversation, right? There's Michael Jordan, there's LeBron.
It would be Beyonce.
Right now, there is, to me, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. After Michael Jackson, who has had a better career than Beyonce?
Nobody has.
Nobody.
And honestly, I find it very interesting that the top two performers in the world right now, because there's just two of them, it's the black woman and the white woman. It is Beyonce and Taylor Swift. There is no men who can even come close to them. There is no rapper. Drake is not anywhere near these two women. It is just Taylor Swift. Well, don't you play with me now on this radio. It is Beyonce, it is Taylor Swift, and that's it.
So you believe Taylor Swift is a better artist than Drake?
No. Than Drake, yes. I thought you were saying, do I think she's better than Beyonce? No.
Okay.
I think Beyonce and Taylor Swift are equal. I know that sounds messed up, but I think they're equal because of the impact that they have, the ticket sales that they sell.
It's two different markets, but I've heard people who said they went to Taylor Swift shows and they said it was a very entertaining show.
They are. They're entertaining and fun. Beyonce's are entertaining and fun. Those both movies, entertaining and fun, they put out. Like they both of them are writers and they're great. But Taylor Swift is absolutely better than Drake. If someone said, Kia, you get to go to a Taylor Swift concert or a Drake concert, I'll take the Taylor Swift, please. Go give me a hat and a cute scarf. I'll go. Yes.
It's an interesting conversation because I know there's a lot of people who try to hate on Beyonce like she's not who she is, right? We're talking about consistently.
Absolutely.
Destiny's Child had to come out in the mid to late 90s. I give it 97, give or take. It is now 2024.
Yes.
And she is still the most relevant black woman in business, in the music business by far. So she had the biggest group. No other group has touched the Destiny's Child.
No.
Since.
No.
Right? Mm-mm. You have to almost say, is there a bigger girl group than Destiny's Child in the history of black music? Right? Now, some people will argue, historically the Supremes, which was obviously huge.
I mean, but that's just, okay, fine. The Supremes and Destiny's Child. Like, are you serious? Like, cool. Two.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So now, but you have to take into account the level of exposure. You're talking about the Supremes during a time where it was hard to get radio play and you didn't have a level of you can't compare record sales. You can't compare that stuff because it's a different time and place. But the longevity of Beyonce to go from 1996, 97 to 2024 and still be able to sell out not arenas, stadiums.
Oh yeah, and again, there's only two women who are doing that:
Right.
Taylor Swift and Beyonce. But
Right.
can we go into music, because everybody? This is the funniest part of music that always makes me go, get out my face. People are like, well, J Lo. I'm like, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Let me pump your brakes. And it's interesting because recently the actress Ayo Edebiri actually hosted SNL. Did you hear about this? So it's a whole little controversy thing.
Last weekend?
Yes.
No,
It's
what
a little
happened?
controversy.
Right. What happened?
So Ayo Edebiri, she actually stars in the TV show The Bear. She actually won an Emmy and she's won a Golden Globe for her portrayal. And she's also a singer, beautiful voice. And she
Okay.
was on a podcast with her friends, 5 or 6 years before she got famous, and basically saying J Lo can't sing, but she knows she can't sing. Like it's the same thing we all say. J Lo can't sing, but she knows she can't sing. I mean, she's a good performer, but she can't sing. But she should know that. Like everybody knows that. Like Ashanti
Mhm.
should be singing Horror Awards because Ashanti sung all those demos and blah blah blah. Well, recently, this past Saturday, Ayo hosted the SNL where J Lo was the performer, and let me tell you right now, J Lo performed. Ayo was right. J Lo cannot sing. Is she fun to watch? Yes. Is she a great dancer? Yes. Is she still a fly girl? Absolutely. Can she sing? No. But to hear people say that Jennifer Lopez is this iconic performer and she's so this and so that, I'm like, no, she is not.
There's a difference between a singer and a performer. Let's keep it real there. Let's keep it real.
Yes.
J Lo is an amazing performer. At 50 plus years old, she still looks like she's 25. She can still dance like she's
shape.
25. She's in amazing shape. No question about it. Is she a great singer? Hell to the no. We know that. She's very average. She's fair to middling, as the old ladies would say.
Is she even average? I wouldn't even put her in the average stage.
Not. See, y'all, it's so funny. Trey sent me a video the other day. It was talking about how terrible J-Lo's. J-Lo is not.
Because she talk sings. Her new song is called I Can't Get Enough. I can't get enough. You love that ish. I can't get enough. I love that ish. I can't get enough. I love that ish. I'm still in love with you, boy. That's her singing. That's not singing. That's you're just talking in a cute voice. But again, she is a performer. She got on that stage in SNL, and she always has great features. Yeah. She had Lotto on that song, and then she brought out Redman, and I was like, "Oh, now I'm sold. Now I want to go buy the song because it's got Redman."
Everybody know. Here's what Jennifer Lopez has. She got a nice checkbook. So when people say, "Okay, I'm gonna go," I need a feature. Come on, Ja Rule. Come on, Fat Joe. Come on,
Redman of all people.
Come on, Redman. But that's you talking about. I go back. I can never get out of my mind. Thick J Lo, who was a fly girl dancer in Living Color in the late 80s, and how much she was an amazing dancer, and then all of a sudden she became a superstar. And a lot of people, I think it was Tommy, and I say thick because she was Puerto Rican thick then. She was still eating a lot of rice.
Yeah, like now, compared to today, because everybody's like, "Oh, why do we always think J-Lo was thick?" Because back then, women weren't built naturally like how J-Lo was built. Like they just...
Well, she was built like Jenny from the block. She could dance her butt off. She's probably in her late teens, early 20s, and and she was living. Once she decided to become a superstar and whatever, she changed her diet and she lost 25, 30 pounds, and she's kept it off ever since. The whole J-Lo, I don't know how we got on J-Lo this long, but
because the reason why is because Ayo made her comments, and then everybody kept trying to put J-Lo in that Taylor Swift, Beyonce category, being this great entertainer, great performer, all around. I was like, but she's not. Like, well, how? Mm-hmm. That's how I got roped into it. People like, well, J-Lo this. I'm like, well, no, J-Lo does not. J-Lo is mediocre at everything. J-Lo is mediocre at...
No.
Except for dancing.
That's part of everything. She's an amazing dancer. And she's beautiful.
She's beautiful. Sure. She's an amazing dancer. Amazing dancer. But when you see her in movies, you're like, yeah, it's just all right.
So when you think about the best pop artists in the last 40 years, is she a better singer than Madonna? Right. Is she a better singer?
Wait, stop. I don't I don't have a good Madonna reference
Here's my
point. Though.
There's pop singers, Madonna and Cyndi Lauper, and now I think Pink can sing. I think Pink has a strong voice.
Pink is different.
Yeah, Pink is different. So it's all about what you like. Part of going back to that We Are the World deal. One of the most and one of the most compelling parts of it was when Bob Dylan was there singing amongst all of these great singers. And people don't know who Bob Dylan is. Bob Dylan was more known in the late 60s for making protest music. He was not a great singer. He just had he was a great writer. He was a great writer. So you imagine he's sitting there with all these amazing Huey Lewis and Paul Simon and Stevie Wonder and he's sitting around and you can see how uncomfortable he is because he's in a room with real singers. That whole We Are the World thing was not so much about everybody being amazing singers because half the people didn't sing but half a line. It was about you bringing your audience to this and helping to raise money. And so when you look at, the J-Lo's of the world, and everybody has a market. There's a market for everything and everybody. When I hear that song that Drake did with Sexy Red, and how big that record is, and I don't, you listen to it about 30 times, and you find yourself like, it actually has a pretty good beat.
Nah, no, you're not gonna get me, Lord. Nope, I will stick to the baby shows that are stuck in my head that I'm used to. You are not gonna. I can't do Sexy Red. I don't care what anybody says.
I can't do it either. But
no.
After a while, you do it enough times. But let's switch gears a little bit because we didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about Killer Mike. Killer Mike won Rap Album of the Year,
but why was he arrested?
Exactly. Supposedly he was arrested, misdemeanor battery outside of Grammys because he got into an altercation with a security guard. And I said to myself, wow, this man just won this huge award. He done worked 25 years of his career to be put in this position. And first of all, they didn't televise it. We know that, you give Killer Mike a microphone, who knows what might be said. And that's part of the reason why they didn't televise it. And this goes back to, as you mentioned, when Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince in 1989 won the first Grammy Award, they protested because it wasn't going to be televised. You were 7, 8, 9 years old, right? Mm-hmm. That's something that I can remember very vividly. Public Enemy, who gives a F about a Grammy, because we felt disrespected as a black music fandom and a community because the way they treated our genre of music. This is where I come back to saying that these folks are going to start putting this, what they feel is back in our place. And
I don't call it that though. Well, I don't call it back in our place.
I don't call it either. I'm putting it in quotes because I'm reading the tea leaves and saying they just watched. Let's go back. What's happened over the course of the last year? They watched for a year hip hop be celebrated for a full year. They watched 56-year-old LL Cool J have a tour and sell out arenas, right?
Yes.
They watched that Gen X generation of hip hop and R&B be celebrated.
Yes.
And while Paul Simon sat back and said, well, I ain't wrote a song in 30 years. Well, first of all, if you want to write a song for 30 years, you done made enough bread that you said, I don't need to write no songs for 30 years.
But here's the thing. Why would the Grammy celebrate it when we, especially the age of people who can buy the music, go to the concerts, if we're not celebrating hip hop because it sucks, why are they so I don't call it putting it in our place.
But here's the thing. Okay. If Paul Simon is going to close out a show, then after this 50, I don't know what happened last year with the Grammys, but I want to keep an eye on that. Will the LLs of the world, will the baby faces of the world, that generation that we're buying tickets and going to concerts as well, will our biggest artists, and one thing that really pains me is that some of those from that generation, they worked so damn hard, they worked themselves into the grave. The fact that we don't have Michael, Prince, Whitney Houston, Gerald Levert, Luther Vandross, these are people we should be celebrating right now. Now, we will be celebrating Usher, who's still a young man. He's still in his late 40s.
Oh, yeah. Usher is Usher. Yeah.
He's getting ready to do the Super Bowl, and that will be his celebration. But the Mary J. Bliges of the world, the Anita Bakers of the world.
But here's the thing, though.
What?
Is the Grammy asking these people, we want you to come perform, and they're turning it down?
I
We
can't see
don't know
Mary.
that.
I can't see Mary J. Blige turning down an invitation to being honored at the Grammys. Now,
I can.
why? No, I can't see that. I can't. I can't because these artists are not. There's too many great artists, the Jill Scotts of the world, who all of a sudden, the music industry is not giving them much attention. It's really a collective conversation, coming even back to the Taraji P. Henson conversation around our artists being undervalued, right? A Paul Simon can sit on the sideline for 30 years because he probably made enough money, written enough songs that people have redone, and he probably still writing whatever. But our artists still got to work their behinds off, to work their fingers to the bone to still make the living that they created. And so let's just keep an eye on it. And at the same time, I'm like, screw their validation. But at the same, but what's happening is that Essence Awards, the NAACP Image Awards, the Soul Train Awards, the BET Awards, they also are not giving any place for Gen X and above to have a platform, right?
No.
And so who's going to celebrate that generation of Black artists is going to be the question that's getting ready to happen over the course
I
of
thought you meant, I'm sorry, I'm getting my generations confused. I'm trying to say they're not giving a platform for the newer rap artists, because they're not. But
well, those artists, that's a different conversation. But and I believe that's part of them squandering what these artists over the last 40 years had built up, right? Yeah. And after all these years, you look at what is happening now, and who is the top R&B artist that's out here right now that's Black, and you're just like, I don't know. Is it Chris Brown?
It's Chris Brown.
Is it the
Well,
Weeknd?
no. Well, Usher's new songs are
Usher's got a new album coming out, and hopefully he'll
Summer Walker.
But women now I heard a number. I before I came on the show today, I have to verify, but they said 80% of Black radio right now are women artists that are being played.
Probably, but let me tell you another thing that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The R&B kids, girls and boys right now,
mm-hmm.
are disgusting in their real life. It is plastered all over Instagram.
Okay.
The R&B kids back in the day, they didn't have social media. They didn't have babies out here and baby daddies, and it was hidden, and they signed NDAs. Don't you tell nobody I got a baby with you. If they did have kids, the girlies weren't getting pregnant. The first person to ever get pregnant out of wedlock that was an R&B, I feel like, was Erykah Badu. That was the only one that it was like out there, she had a baby.
Well,
that it was out there.
Yeah,
not that they had a baby before.
That it was out there. You think about Janet Jackson, they always hid the fact of whether or not she had a baby with James DeBarge. The whole thing with Mickey, I think it was Mickey Howard or somebody else who supposedly had a baby with Michael Jackson. That was something you hid that back in the day because it didn't have the value it has now. When I look at this situation,
but it didn't have value now. What value does it now? Like for example, I feel like
Summer keeps them relevant. It keeps them relevant. Well, what's this?
But I'm not going to buy your music. Summer Walker has a beautiful voice, but when I see her out her life, I'm like, you can go to hell. I don't want to know. You named your baby Bubbles. I get the F. You had 2 baby daddies, had twins. You got tattoos all over your face, girl. You look dirty. Get out. I don't want to buy your music. Maybe that's just me.
But that because you're not the audience though. The problem is that you're not the audience. I'm not the audience, right? Music purchasing is so undervalued right now. You hear when and I don't think I've I'll see if I can play it before we get up out of here. At the Traffic Sales and Profit joint, Master P was there, and Master P said, "I ain't in the music business no more." Right?
Yeah.
And the reason why he said it wasn't in the music business no more because he said there's no money in it, and that's not in this clip. So point being, if these artists sit up and say, I can make more money by going on Instagram and acting a plum fool and getting more appearances and get reality shows, why make good music? Right? They are really at a point now where it's kind of like the incentive to make great music is no longer there. So now they have to they got to be incentivized by just saying, I'm going to make art. I'm going to make artistry. Now, here's the thing. We know there's musicians out there. We know that the people that are making great music. We know Robert Glasper is out there. We know Her is out there, right? I listen to Her right now, what is she, 25, maybe?
25.
You listen to our Her playlist and feel like you're not in the middle of 1989 or 1995. Yeah. That young lady is a musician. she understands what she's doing. SZA to a lot. They say SZA is kind of the new age Mary J. I get that.
And there's another girl I just discovered through, of all places, the Neighborhood Talk. I got to find her name though.
Yeah,
but she's kind of a. I know you did. I'm so sorry for putting you on that. It was just toxic to your timeline. I'm sorry.
It was terrible.
But there's a new singer that's out, and she's kind of like a fun, quirky rock R&B singer. She's a Black woman. I think her name is Chloe the God. I think it's Chloe the God or Chloe the God. She's great. I can't wait to see how her future ends up because she's so interesting and she's such an amazing singer. But we have to jump topics, and we only got a little bit more.
Well, to put a bow on this, to put a bow
where
on
are
this
we
thing,
going?
To put a bow on this part of the conversation, when it's all said and done, what they're force feeding us like McDonald's French fries is not what is the best product that's out there. There's a lot of artists that are out there. I think that what Jay-Z did when he made his statement basically was, because it's politics. It's all about, it's almost the same process politically. He's made his statement about trying to have the best artists being showcased. It's not going to get better. And what's going to happen is that the people in the Grammy industry, they're going to start to reel this stuff back in, and they're going to start featuring more of the artists that they want to see, which are going to be the Taylor Swifts, their classic artists like Billy Joel, right? And they're going to find some middle of the road artists, Black artists, Hispanic artists that are going to play the game. When it comes down to was it the Grammys last year that had Sam Smith, who almost had a demonic performance? Was it the Grammys last year that had that crazy performance? And that stuff is about to get pushed.
I love that song, though. I love that song.
Yeah, but that performance.
That song is so good.
All right, let's move on.
Unholy is a great song. Anyways, move on.
Let's move on. I wanted to get before we get out of here. We wanted to talk about a little politics in here. We talk about what's her name? Nikki Haley.
Dodo Bird.
Nimrata. So she was recently. She's tried to go back to the old thing about racism. Basically started with the Obama administration. It's absolutely insane. But this is a segment that was on The View,
where she shared her thoughts on some issues the country is facing right now. Take a look.
With Obama, that was, if you go back, that's when we really started to feel the division. That's when it was...
A lot of that was because of white supremacy.
Well, no, I think it was everything. Everything was exaggerated with the Obama administration. It became more about gender. It became more about race. People felt like they were being put in camps through that administration.
You said you believe that states have the right to secede?
I think states have the right to make the decisions that their people want to make. If Texas decides they want to do that, they can do that.
I am just curious. So if she thinks the division really became enhanced under Obama, what was the problem with the 3 little girls that got bombed in the church in 1962? What was the problem with Emmett Till? Were they just fooling around? Were they just angry about nothing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Nikki, go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk about your Republican folk for a minute. Go ahead.
Nikki Haley took a promising career and decided, I'm just gonna wipe my butt with it and then flush it down the drain. She had a survival opportunity after Trump. It was small, but it was there. And every time she speaks specifically about race as a woman of color, it is embarrassing. It's almost like she went to sleep brown a while ago and then woke up white. The woman she sees in the mirror is a white woman who is apple pies and picket fences and everything is fine.
Absolutely.
It is not a woman whose parents are straight off, and I hate to say this, her parents are straight off the boat Indian. Just like my mother-in-law is straight off the boat Guyanese. She is just so oblivious. And it's weird. You stood on the steps of, I can't think of the church's name, after Dylan Roof walked into that church and blew 9 people away for no reason. Was that Obama's fault that he did that?
According to her, it was a division in Obama. Here's the thing.
But how can you mess this up so bad, Miguel? Please tell me, how can someone ruin this much political capital without a sex scandal? This is like sex scandal level of messing up.
I don't believe she's ruining her capital. I believe.
I love you, but you're dumb. There's no way.
No. Here's why. Because she is. This is about her racist base. This is about peeling off as much of Trump's racist base to consider her as possible. This is about them saying she's one of the good ones. This is about her coming in and because we really do live in two different worlds in this country. We really do. It's these people who believe all this conspiracy nonsense, who believe if I hide the fact that slavery happened, that it really didn't happen. And that's what we're dealing with right now. You know, this. And so she sat back. She don't give a damn. She goes on these shows just like the rest of them. They go on these shows, and it's an opportunity for them to go on these liberal shows and to own them as they believe that they are, and because they don't believe nothing that they see. There was and I'm gonna see if I can find it before we get up out of here. These nut jobs, what they believe now is a different level of reality. That's this. Here it is. You know. I'm gonna see if I can. And let me play this. And it's not even like
policies that you support.
Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure Law, the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act. I think it's good that Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. I can go on.
No, I get. Wow. Okay, would you like to talk about the pullout of Afghanistan?
Why did you feel bothered that I just listed policies I think are good?
Because
I think it's great that he lowers prescription drug costs.
You don't know enough about those policies.
So one of them in the Inflation Reduction Act is capping the cost of insulin for Medicare recipients at $35 out of pocket per month. And I think that's really good. I don't think seniors should be having themselves price gouged. Now Medicare will negotiate drug prices. I think that's really good because of Joe Biden and Democrats.
I think Joe Biden is an illegitimate president. I think the election was stolen, and I think he's going to be killed for his treason. How about that?
Right.
Tell me 3 Democratic policies.
Just to try to get a few of those nut jobs to consider voting for her, because she ain't gonna get a whole lot of them on the left. She's trying to get a few of those nuts to not vote for Trump. Right? That's her audience. We're not her audience. She goes on the
Which
Breakfast
is dumb for
Club.
her because Nikki, you may not see that you're brown, but they see that you're brown. Like,
but those people love brown and black people who will assimilate. They love people like Tim Scott that will jump out there on a kid's swing.
Right.
Right. Y'all think these people don't exist? They exist. They think that's such an easier path to their lives.
I think they've all turned into court jesters for Trump. But I personally just thought so much more of Nikki. And I guess, I'm a Paul Ryan girl. I guess I'm glad he hasn't come out because he would probably have to kiss the ring. And I guess a part of him's like, I'd rather just stay in the background than having to do this song and dance for Trump. I'm not doing it. Because he hasn't. He's come out on different shows, and when they ask him a question about Trump, it's always like, so yeah, there's a thing, and oh look, there's a star over there. It's always him trying to change the subject because he just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. So all right. So before we get up out of here, we haven't done our
Can we do a fun topic?
Yeah. Let's talk about your man's. What is it? Mans? Who is your man's? I'm gonna show you who your man's is. This is your man's right here.
Oh yeah, I was like, about this.
That's your man's right there. That is your man's right there.
It is. So, I'm a Joe Button. What do we call her? A Patroni. I'm a Patroni.
What's a Patroni? What does that mean?
That's what he calls his listeners. He calls us Patronis.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
go ahead and set up for the people wondering, like, what is he doing right now in this clip? It's
Joe Budden of the Joe Budden podcast is the biggest gaslighter to ever gaslight people in the history of gaslighting. So in this clip right now, him and his co-hosts are arguing because Joe says that he never has messes with a girl behind his friends. And the co-hosts are basically saying, the one co-host is basically saying, Joe, you're a liar. You lie a lot and you're lying about this because you did it to me. And then Joe proceeds to gaslight this guy, Ish, like I've never seen.
So,
have you watched this before this?
So mind you, I can't play this clip because it's just way too disrespectful. It's way too much cussing. Like he legitimately is sitting there calling women like some girl. She was a sewer
gutter
rat.
snipe. He called her a gutter snipe.
Gutter snipe. All this nonsense. And here's the challenge. Here's the challenge that I have with this. These are 40 plus 50-year-old people who
40
who's out
plus.
here,
Yeah, 40 plus.
who are wilding like this. And I sit back and I'm just like, yo, this social media era is just, it's wild to me that these cats are relegated their artistry because, you know, Joe Budden wasn't a great rapper, but he was decent. You know, he's not terrible. And he's relegated now to throwing his headphones and hats and cussing out and wilding out on his co-host. And this whole segment is 3 or 4 minutes long. And basically they're talking like they're 15-year-old boys about how, man, you going behind me. I got this woman, you going behind me, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting back and saying, these cats are making a whole boatload of money.
But I don't even care about that. The gaslighting, Joe always acts like he's above it all. Like, oh, I'm a guy, I'm a man's man, I don't do this, I'm straightforward. And we just watched you scream, throw your headphones, cuss, have a temper tantrum, and then call somebody else emotional.
Yeah, right. He called that guy who was just screaming and throwing his headphones was calling his man emotional.
You're emotional. You're turning red or you're sweating.
I'm just like, man, this is wild to me, man. So Joe Budden and it's just so much that to do DJ Academics and all of these men who fell into this gossiping trap.
Yes.
And it's wild to me. I'm like, yo, this is your, and then did you hear and staying in the gossiping streets? I seen this trailer recently where Wendy Williams has a new documentary coming out.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up because it wouldn't have been on Alexis's list because it just came out after she gave this list. Can you pull the trailer so we can watch it before?
Go ahead and talk.
So let me set this
talk
up.
about it. Go ahead.
People have not. Okay, let's rewind. Wendy Williams had the top talk show on Fox for a very long time, for a while. She had that incident on Halloween that kind of triggered her health. She had her husband left her for another woman, a woman that he had been having an affair with for years. Serena something. And they had a baby on her. She divorced him. He got alimony. But then her show had to end because of her health. Like they did a long kind of, I want to say, what was it, 4 months, 5 months of them kind of trying to wait for her? Miguel, was it 5 months they were trying to wait for her to come back?
I don't know. I wasn't paying that close attention, but here's a trailer.
Here's a trailer for her new documentary.
From 6 years old, all I wanted was to be famous.
A Lifetime 2-night documentary event.
Showtime.
Executive produced by Wendy Williams.
The boss is walking, everybody.
Nobody can do it like Wendy. No one.
People love Wendy.
You are a star.
She was in her living room every single day for 12 years.
Yep, I guess that'll do.
And that's what people responded to, her authenticity. And then at the peak of her career, she was gone.
Are we ready?
Yeah, waiting on you.
All right. And away we go.
Love you, Wendy.
All I know is how to be famous. I really want to be back on television.
You're gonna be back on TV. That's easy.
My mom has done a great job making it seem like everything is okay always.
Wendy, make sure you look here. 1, 2, 3.
But in reality, there's something wrong going on.
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to sit down again.
She was put in front of a judge and given a guardian. That was when they took her away from us.
I have no money. And I'm gonna tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
As her family, we were all sitting on the sidelines watching, and she was crying out for help.
Did you drink this whole thing today?
Keep it there.
Okay.
Keep it there.
My mom, she always talks about how she wants to work. But I feel as though she's worked enough.
She has people around who are yes people and allowing this to continue.
This is all too much. Go! Drive! I have no idea where we are. This doesn't look like anything familiar.
Yeah, and it goes on. It's a two episode, I guess, documentary, which will be coming out sometime soon on Lifetime. I'm gonna let you start because I know you kind of have it. You know how I feel about Wendy Williams.
I think for compassion wise, I'm glad this documentary is coming out. I think it'll give people a better understanding what Wendy and her family have been going through. But out of respect and dignity for Wendy, it's a little icky. It's a little, is it exploitive or anything? It feels a little exploitive of her. Some people are calling this her karma.
She's the executive producer, so she put this together. She's part of the team that put this together. She greenlit this. I don't. Yeah, it is karma to a degree. Wendy Williams, what we're seeing right now in the industry, she was one of the purveyors of it from the beginning, right? And when she was in the radio space, right? So, and I don't wish ill on anybody, right? But all she wanted to be was famous. You're famous. And I don't know, I'm not in that space in life where I understand how having that kind of money and resources and ever being broke ever makes sense to me. Because she said anything, she said she has no money, right?
Which I believe.
And I guess this is something going back to when we talked about Paul Simon and she never made Paul Simon money. I'm sure she wasn't that talented, but she's made a lot of money, right? And I never understand how you can ever make that kind of money and never be broke. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, you know what happened?
Well, her husband, ex-husband, said, but go ahead. But give more depth. Go ahead.
What'd you say?
I know some things about her ex-husband, but go ahead, give more depth. Go ahead.
Well, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So in her contract, it said, and in an alimony agreement, I only have to pay you alimony while I'm working on the talk show. So while she wasn't working, alimony was actually still coming out. But then when the show finally, even though she wasn't getting paid while the show was still going with those guest hosts, he was still getting paid. Once the show was canceled, she has no money to bring in. He has nothing going out. Wendy Williams is literally doing nothing. She has a penthouse in Manhattan that still had to get paid for. Like her son said, there are yes men around who still have to get paid. There are other vices that she has that still has to get paid. I think she was also paying for her parents' home. So you're not working. You're bringing in zilch, zero, nada. You're going to all these expensive rehabs because you need it, all these expensive doctors because you need them. You're paying for all these people. You're paying for this expensive apartment. How is she making money, right? I mean, how can she save money when these things are going on? And mind you, she's been off anybody's radar TV for how many years now? We're going on 2.5.
Yeah. The challenge you have is that people have to understand when you make that money is not forever. And I don't care what industry you're in, investments, stocks, whatever type of other businesses that you have to be in, that when the lights turn off, you have to have some other way to make a living. And that's the unfortunate side of what we're seeing with this situation. And like I said, I don't wish any ill of anybody, but she spent a whole lot of time in her career.
20 years. 20 years doing this. 20 years. I mean, she's the one who revealed that, and I will never forget this because I heard it secondhand. She's the one who revealed to the world that Redman's wife had breast cancer. And the woman's own family didn't even know that she had breast cancer.
That's the type of energy. Hold on. That's the type of energy. That's the recap video. I'm going to show that before we get up out of here once we're closing. That's the type of energy that makes it very hard for me to empathize too much, because she found the worst times of people's lives.
She really did.
To really
Whitney, that Whitney interview on her radio show.
Yeah, man, and that to me is like karma is something else, man. Karma is something else. But before we get up out of here, we did want to talk about one last wild story, which was this story about this funeral.
Ashanti's pregnant.
Oh, well, that too. Shantae's pregnant. I thought you wanted to talk about this guy, Texas man, charging.
Oh, yeah. So listen, Black people, I'm going to need you guys to go back to scamming PPP loans because scamming people's funerals is really like a no-go we shouldn't really do. So this guy in Texas is facing charges for pretending to be a funeral director to steal life insurance money from grieving families. He actually got a body from a son of a woman and signed off on paperwork, got money for the funeral, and didn't do no embalming, no nothing. The woman walks in the church and it smells like death because the body was never embalmed. Her son's body was bloated. Was bloated.
Yeah.
But it's just like, why are we still scamming? And why are we doing these type of scams? Like it's just
because some people don't
disgusting.
have any talent. This is what they do. Lastly, before I get about, we mentioned
Go on
about people.
OnlyFans. Start an OnlyFans account. I bet you there's a niche.
Do you really
for big
believe?
boys?
Yeah, about to say, because this dude right here, do you really believe this dude right here is gonna start an OnlyFans? Because this is just his head.
I feel like there's a niche. I bet you if you did a whole
shaped
sex
like
thing
Grimace.
as Fat Albert, people would dig it.
All right. So last thing before we get up out of here, as we mentioned, I had an opportunity to attend the Traffic Sales and Profit Convention. Well, not convention. it's
Oh,
an
you
event.
wearing your cool guy vest.
I'm wearing my cool good, whatever that means. Master P talked about, we had a lot of clips and I didn't put them all out, but one thing he mentioned, he said that, when people asked him if he's in the music business, he said, I'm not in the music business anymore. Ain't enough money in it. Ain't no money in the music business. And there's a lot of truth to that. But I want to run this clip before we get up out of here. Great event. Kudos to Traffic Sales and Profit.
So I've never been a person that's just saying, I got one hustle. And I think that our grind have to be different. All the successful people, think about it, they say they don't want to put their money in the bank. They're going to invest their money into something. We make 0.1% on our money in the bank. So why not invest it into something that could change your life or change your family life, something that we could build and give back. And also, because think about it, every time we need something in our community, in our culture, we got to go to them to say, help us. And what they do, we get the shortest end of the small.
That's right.
So even when I'm looking at my hometown, I be like, all these different people that need stuff in our community, the reason why we can't help them because nobody own nothing.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me go back to my two shot. Where is it at? Yeah. It was a great event. You saw Arlene, who's a angel investor. You saw Dr. Boyce Watkins. There was Don Peoples, who's a real estate investor who's trying to build a skyscraper in New York. He's very, so there's a lot of business going on in this world. I encourage you guys to get out here and learn about what's going on outside of what's going on Neighborhood Talk and all that, because there's a lot of Black folks that's killing it out here in this space.
Omar and I might end up in Atlanta if things keep going the way in Florida and business keeps getting better in Atlanta. It might we end up in Atlanta.
I'm telling you, man, we there's about to be some work that's about to get popping off out here, and we'd love to have you out here. Family, we appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all share, tweet, facts, all that. We'll see y'all next week.